This is heartbreaking as the worst is announced for Filip Chytil, bringing emotional reactions from players, making this rocky road to the playoffs even tougher for the Canucks as they fight to maintain that second wildcard spot. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Canucks Digest, but first, before we get into that, we have a special offer for you guys, and I'm going to let Mark take it from here.
We're kicking off a March Madness bracket for the channel. We are partnered with the Hot Takes app and other Digest channels for this event. It's completely free to sign up. Just download the Hot Takes app, click the March Madness banner at the top, and under group, select the Digest Media Pool. This is really exciting as there's over $25,000 in prizes to be won, and there's such a smaller pool of people participating, there's a real chance at winning big. Check out the link below or scan the QR code to download the app. Make sure to use the promo code DIGEST in all caps to get exclusive perks when signing in. Main event competition will start on March 16th, and if you have any trouble, reach out to us in the email that will be down below in the description. Once again, I want to give a huge thank you to Hot Take for partnering with us on this amazing competition.
Thanks for that, Mark. And with that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is devastating injury update. So yesterday it was reported that Rick Tocchet said that Filip Chytil was out for last night's game with a concussion, said that he felt okay today, but he is in the concussion protocol. They'll see how he is over the next 48 hours before deciding if he'll go on the trip. And at the time of recording this, we do not have a further update on it, so that is why we are covering it today as well. We thought something might have come out today, but they still haven't made a decision on if he will go on this very long and very critical road trip. The other thing that's a very big cause for concern with this is the fifth concussion of Filip Chytil's career, marking the possibility of his career potentially coming to an end, with a lot of people saying that with CTE being a big concern, the amount of concussions that he's had. Just for any athlete, 5 concussions is a lot, but when you're playing the sport of hockey and you're in an extremely high contact sport, I know football, hockey, there's a lot of those ones where there's a lot of these injuries that you don't want to see happen, and you have a lot of bad consequences as a result of them. And this is something that you don't want for Filip Chytil. He's still fairly young. You don't want to see him go out like this as well, especially when he's been such a critical part of this Vancouver Canucks team. We're going to hop into that in a second as well. But the biggest passionate reaction, we saw Rick talk at post game how he was very visibly upset, but he didn't let his words get the best of him as far as how he reacted to no call being placed on it, and then how he would feel about them passing disciplinary action on it. He said it was a dirty hit, but it wasn't anything that he really went into anything salacious with. The passionate response, however, was from Kiefer Sherwood, where he was saying post-game that it's back-to-back games that guys are taking liberties on our guy. Dickinson is going to have to answer the bell next year, because I know we don't play them again this year, but that was a dirty hit. Unnecessary, 6-2, and then he doesn't have the whatever to step on the ice afterwards. Derek Forbert asked him, it is what it is. We'll get him next year. And I love this from Kiefer Sherwood, and I am willing to bet at least $10, maybe even 20, probably even 50, that Kiefer Sherwood is going to be the one to light up Dickinson next season when the Canucks do play them next, because he's not going to let this go unnoticed. And the reporter asked him too, as the NHL's league leader in hits, how do you feel about that hit as one and as someone who lays a lot of hits? And obviously Kiefer Sherwood, no one knows better than him as far as laying a clean hit that can be effective. Obviously he knows what a dirty hit is. Obviously we know what a dirty hit is. I was having a conversation with somebody after seeing that hit, and as amateur as it might be, or as younging as it might be, I really like the idea of putting stop signs on jerseys, because we're seeing so many of these injuries and these hits happen, nothing getting called, no suspensions being handed out, no fines being handed out, and guys get away with it. It's leading to a lot of fights. You gotta love to see guys sticking up for their teammates and seeing excitement on the ice and seeing them throw down and drop the gloves. However, when it's coming at the expense of guys getting away with hits like this, setting a precedent for guys getting away with hits like this, and coming at the expense of players' health and a potential risk of CTE, especially when they've had as many concussions as Filip Chytil has had. The biggest part, though, with this is that Filip Chytil was the main piece in the return coming back from the JT Miller trade. Canucks also acquired Victor Mancini in a 2025 top 13 projected first round pick. He has played 15 games in a Canucks sweater, scoring 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points, 44 shots on goal, a -11 rating, and 1641 minutes of average ice time. So he still has made an impact since coming over to Vancouver. Has it been the most flashy or exciting of tenures so far? Not necessarily, but it still is scoring. It still is contributing. Yeah, the -11 isn't great, but with this stat, this is a Canucks team that hasn't scored a lot of goals, and we've had a lot of goals scored on us. We have been very inconsistent all year, so it wouldn't surprise me to see a lot of guys on this team that are having really good seasons have a minus rating in that department. However, with this, you still want him to have any impact he can, contribute any way he can, especially when we're going on the lengthy road trip that we're going on. But what do you guys think about the Filip Chytil news? How devastated are you guys? Do you guys think this completely ruins our playoff chances? Do you think he's that big of a difference maker where we need him in there? I know he was doing a lot of things out there. He was being speedy with the puck. He was good with stick handling the puck, and he was really good at creating opportunities for other guys as well. I really liked seeing how he transitioned over from New York to Vancouver. He was a really good addition for us. Was it the exactly filling the void that JT Miller left? Not entirely, but it still went a long ways towards repairing that. So it still is, it's not entirely there, but it still was something. However, we're not going to have him for a while, and it would not surprise me if he is not on this road trip, given the hit that he took. However, Tyler Myers, we saw a scary situation where he took a puck to the net and he was back the next game. Obviously, Chytil did miss a game, but hopefully he will be back for this very critical road trip that the Canucks have coming up. And that's going to take us into our second topic of the day, which is a tougher road to the playoffs. So after they play the Winnipeg Jets tomorrow night at home, they go on a horrendous road trip that is going to be a murderer's row of games to try and steal. First one at St. Louis. They're the ones competing with us for a playoff spot. So if we lose to Winnipeg, obviously, each one of these games, they're must-wins. But if we lose to Winnipeg, that St. Louis game becomes the biggest game of the entire regular season. That's going to be for all of it. It's head-to-head record. It's total points. It is going to be everything. Then we have our revenge game against JT Miller and against Carson Soucy in New York, the game after it. So not only are we going to be going into these high-stakes games as far as playoffs are concerned, we're going to be going into highly emotional games. Obviously, Jack Hughes is not going to be playing in Jersey. Still got his brother Lukey there, but that isn't going to be as exciting as it was last season, seeing all three Hughes brothers out on the ice. Then we got the New York Islanders, Columbus Blue Jackets, and then closing out the road trip against the Winnipeg Jets. So this next streak of games is starting at home with the Winnipeg Jets, and it's ending at the end of a very long road trip and a very strenuous road trip in Winnipeg. So it's going to be a long road for the Canucks. It's going to be very tough, and not having Filip Chytil is going to be a very big part of that, because he still is one of these key forwards that we have. There's a reason why they wanted to acquire him in that trade. He's been very useful, as well as Marcus Pettersson as well in the trade from the Penguins. So these newer Canucks, they've been able to do something, and we've seen that these players for the Canucks that aren't newer, more of the longer tenured guys, they're the ones that are starting to heat up. But then as well, when you look at the standings too, that's why that St. Louis game is so critical. Currently tied with them for that final wildcard spot. Minnesota, they've ran away with that number one wildcard spot, so that's a far cry away. We got to make sure Calgary and Utah don't creep up on us. I know that was a tough game that we lost the other night against Utah, but this is something where, hey, Petey, he's scoring. Say what you guys want in the comments. He's putting up points, and the noise is starting to quiet down a bit. Then I know that noise has kind of shifted over to Brock Boeser. You guys have kind of pivoted that stance a bit more, but it's natural. I know that when one player who is struggling starts doing well, you go to the next one who is struggling, and you try and get him motivated a bit more. Here's the hoping that, hey, it worked for Petey at a certain point, so hopefully with Brock Boeser, something will happen and something will give where he gets going. Quinn Hughes, he's nothing to worry about. We know that Quinn is going to be just fine. He's going to produce. He's going to get assists. He's going to get goals. He's going to get a bunch of ice time. He's fine there. Kiefer Sherwood, he's fine. We're set there. He's doing perfectly fine. Pius Suter, he's doing pretty well. He's doing just fine for himself. So we have guys that are now starting to get that momentum that they need. But there are some passengers that we still have on this train that, yeah, we can't get rid of those passengers right now. We just got to hope that they can pick it up and make sure that they are contributing to make sure that this train can go as smooth as possible. It's not going to be smooth at all by any means of the imagination. This is going to be a very stressful road trip coming up and a very stressful final weeks of the regular season to try and get that final playoff spot, because unless Minnesota goes on a horrible losing streak, Winnipeg to start this next streak of games and end this streak of games is going to be a playoff preview, and we're going to want to be ready for it. But what do you guys think about this road trip coming up? How worried are you guys about it? Do you guys think that if we can't come out of this road trip with a positive record, do you guys think that this season is absolutely done for and the final games of the season won't even matter? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments. I know it's going to be a very stressful ride, but hey, we're here sharing it with you guys. Mark and I are going to be right along for the ride with you guys as if we're your therapist. So if you guys need a vent about it, get all your frustrations and your stress out, that's why the comment section is here. So make sure to leave a comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you don't miss the new updates when they drop. I know it's going to be a big game tomorrow night against Winnipeg, so you won't want to miss that post game when it comes out. But with that, I've been your host, Griffin. Thanks again to Hot Takes as well for being a supporter of this channel. But with that, have a good one. Take care.